I am sorry. Thank you for letting me know that you can't hear us. Let me start again. I apologize for that. So let's get started again here. Thank you so much for that. So, good morning. I am Jenny Thomas. I am so excited to be with you. I'm a mama of four littles. I get to raise twin boys that are 9, a 7-year-old little girl, and a 3-year-old. Each one of them have such sweet spirits, gifting, and needs, as I'm sure that you have found in your children too. But as we're raising children beside my husband Clay, we have overcome many obstacles, but also lots of joys. But you know what? We found that we needed a community of family and friends to come alongside us, to pray with us, to celebrate the joys, to shed the tears, and just to guide us or give us wisdom as we went through each of those obstacles and milestones. So today, as I get the opportunity to share raising kingdom kids and the journey that we went on, I want to come alongside of you and be your community, mentor you as we walk through this journey and the joys of raising these kiddos. So, today, after I talk about our journey and share a story, I would like you guys to hop on the webinar. I put the link in. I want you to hop on that webinar and go ahead and sign up. It will send you an email that then from that email, you can hop on a Zoom and we can have a time of fellowship that we can come alongside each other and be a community. So click that link. I'm going to post it again just in case. So that way we can pray for you. We can come together as parents because that has been so important to Clay and I as we've raised our kids. So today, as we go through it, I want to talk about the words we speak to our children, the importance of what our children are hearing. And that may sound kind of mundane and like, well, what do you mean? What words? As we go through the mundane, the frustrations, the challenges, because our kids will challenge us. And you know what? That's the joy. We get to guide them as they challenge and learn and build that foundation. Because that's what we're here to do is build that foundation for our kids as they grow older so they make wise choices. But you know what? They hear words not just from us. They hear it from their teachers. They hear it from their friends, from their coworkers. There used to always be a saying, at least when I grew up, that sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you. Well, in reality, that's not true. Words hurt. They make us question ourselves. They make us question our identity. And if we do not have our identity firm in God, it makes us go, oh, are we not very good at math? Am I not a good soccer player? Well, maybe I shouldn't do that. But you know what? I know each one of us as parents, remember that. Remember that, you know, the different messages our teachers gave us, the different messages our coaches gave us. What is that? What messages did you hear? I remember as a kid a message from a coach that encouraged me and told me how important I am and how I can make an impact and how, you know what, don't give up. You can do this. And he believed in me. And that was huge for me. That was huge for me as I was running my races. Think of that. Think of a time where it wasn't the greatest words and a time where it was really impactful. Your words as parents matter. The words that they hear from the world also matter. But we've got to build a foundation where those words that are spoken speak life. So when your kids throw a fit, when they mess up, when they make decisions we're not proud of, are you bringing life to them? Are you bringing them hope and impact and words of wisdom? Are we diminishing them? What are we saying? I want you guys to go to Proverbs 30:32. I'm going to read it out of my Bible. It says, if you have played the fool and exalted yourself, or if you have planned evil, clap your hand over your mouth. What does that mean? So that means that don't confess negative thoughts in your mind. Rather, speak life to every situation around you. Speak life. So, okay, if we're going to speak life, what are we saying? What does that mean? I'm going to give you a couple situations at our house where I had an opportunity that I could speak life or I could bring them down. We were in the garage and my kiddos, yes, my boys, even though they're 9, They are very responsible. So they have their nail guns, they have their staplers, they have drills. Well, Luke likes to be silly and joke around, and they both know the safety and what you're supposed to do. However, he decided that it'd be really fun to take the staple gun and just shoot it across and see if he could hit the wall. As we have all these little kids running in and out and in and out, he knew that that's not allowed and wasn't available. And as I turned, as from outside of our house, you kind of walk into the garage, and I turn around my Yukon and see him doing that, I had a choice. My initial human reaction was to be like, "What are you doing? That is stupid. You are going to hurt somebody." But instead, I listened to those words of speak life in every situation around you. So I had a choice. Those words were not going to lift him up. They were going to bring him down. It wasn't going to help the situation. All I was going to do was yell and be like, "What in the world are you thinking?" But instead, I said, "Okay, Luke, we need to set that down. We need to talk." And he knew. He knew instantly. And I said, "You are full of wise choices. You have the wisdom to know right from wrong. You know the consequences of what happens if you don't make wise choices. So let's talk about this." And then we did. We sat down and we talked about it and said, "Okay, if you were shooting the staple gun and somebody walked by, what could happen? And you are full of wisdom. How are you really supposed to handle the staple gun?" And so we talked about it. And I made him realize that, you know what? He didn't make a wise choice, but I didn't belittle him. I spoke life, I spoke truth, because he is wise and he does know right from wrong. And we talked about, you know what? I'm going to give you grace, and I'm going to allow you to leave the staple gun for today, but to have it back tomorrow. And I'm going to know that you are full of wisdom, that God gave you wisdom, and that you have the power to choose, and that you're going to choose the right choice. And he has. And he's talked about it. He said, "Mama, I can't believe I did that. That was wrong of me, and I really could have hurt somebody." Yeah, bud, you totally could have. So, what are the words that you're giving? Think about it. The other day, Lucas was playing soccer at the school. We got to go and visit the school, and so I was watching him. And he kicked the ball, and instead of kicking it to the left, it went clear to the right, and the other team got the ball and scored. His teammates were ticked. They told him, "You know what? You suck. We don't want you to play. Now they won, and we've lost, and it's our second loss, so we're out of the tournament." He had tears. He felt terrible. And, those words hurt. And so, you know what? Him and I talked, and I said, "Well, you know what? Do you suck at soccer?" "No, Mom, I don't." "Okay, tell me who you are." He said, "I'm a good player. I'm a good teammate. I do my best. I know you're proud of me." And so we talked about, you know what, those words hurt. So when we're in that situation, it's important to think about the words that we use, and that, you know what, they are human. That people are going to say yucky words when they're frustrated, when they're angry, but we need to forgive them and need to understand that they're speaking out of the human side. And when it hurts, we have to know that truth. But the only reason he knew that truth is because Clay and I, as parents, spoke life into them. We spoke life. When when Sam blew up and told Luke, "I don't want to be friends with you. I don't like you anymore." No, you're kind-hearted. You're loving. You have kind words to say. You don't hurt people. You are more. You are a child of God, and so is Luke, and we don't use those words. Versus, you know what? I could have punished him. I could have sent him to his room. I could have yelled back. It's funny. I was on night shift and I was tired. I had just finished 3 nights, and the kids were being crazy. They weren't listening. And I yelled. I said, "Put those blocks up. I'm done. I don't want to hear anymore. Get up to the table. Nobody talk. We're eating and we're going to bed." And I yelled. I screamed. And it was funny because Addie came to me and said, "Hey, Mom, why don't you go take a breath? Because you're a kind mom and you don't ever yell at us, and telling us to pick it up and to be quiet, those aren't words of encouraging." And I kind of didn't like it. It really made my heart sad. Yep, my heart sunk. And you know what? She was right. But she said, "Mommy, I forgive you, but could you just go take a breath and then come talk to us nicely?" Absolutely. But we all do that. We all have those moments. But as we're having these moments, how can we speak life instead? How can we not yell and scream? Even as a little kid, we remind Ellie all the time that she has kind, loving hands, and I make her rub them together because she loves to grab things and throw a fit. Nope, because it's the age. It's her milestone. It's how she's gaining her independence, and we know that. And it can be frustrating and want to make you pull your hair out. But no, reminder, you have loving hands. You're good at sharing. Oh, you have nice words. Let me hear your nice words. What difference that makes versus anything else. So I share those, and those are just very simple examples, but I share it just so you know what I'm talking about speaking life and the words that we use. God created us in creative families. In Genesis chapter 1, he tells us how important it is to form family relationships, that he desires a relationship with us, and he desires for you to have a relationship with your children. But we see these relationships broken and fractured because of the yucky words. I see it in my job. I see these parents that come in and they are just brokenhearted because their kids tried to commit suicide or they're having mental health issues. And when you sit down and listen to those kids' heart, they say, I'm worthless. I'm nothing. My parents don't love me. This is what my teacher said. This is what my friend said. Or, you know what? My dad left and I'm worthless. He doesn't want me. Think about that impact of those words that we use, how it can make and break. It brings life or death. It says, Proverbs 18:21, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Your words are fruit. And God indicates that he considers godly families and raising children the utmost priority to the world. So it needs to be a priority to us. We need to start changing the way that we are doing our family and our words. We need to build those blocks and the foundation for our children to grow in their words and the words they use, which then will affect their mental capacity. In our family, we always talk about how important the words are. So I have 2 different note cards on my kids' mirror to remind us of our words. Because we are in this stage, and some of you are in an older stage or a younger stage. But we're in that whole milestones where things are annoying. Oh, he's annoying me, or it's stupid, or I don't want to do this, but that's okay. They can think it's stupid. They can think it's annoying, but those aren't the words we're going to use. So we have Proverbs 15:1. Sorry, I'm going to quickly turn to that in my Bible. And it says, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Those harsh words. We can be mad at our husbands. Husbands, you can be mad at your wives. And those words could be ugly that come out. But we got to model it. We got to put those harsh words away. Because if we use those harsh words, it just stirs up anger. But when we're facing anger, take a step back, give a gentle answer. It will encourage reconciliation, will bring peace. While if you do the harsh words, it's just going to bring up more anger and hostility and rip that relationship. Think about it, chewing gum. You know what? You can stretch it, but if you continue to use those words, it's eventually going to break. And you're going to have 2 pieces instead of 1. And we're to bring one and hold together with God. So on this note card, I have that Bible verse, but I also have how to do it. So when they're frustrated and those words are spewing out, you know what? They walk in and they have to read that note card. And then it says action to take. Their first action, walk away and take a deep breath. Their second one is come back and talk nicely and communicate. And then the third one is to get mom and dad for help. Because you know what? If they can't handle it, and we want to teach them how to handle these situations on their own, but if they can't, sometimes mom and dad need to step in and guide them, give them some wisdom, and model. How do you handle that when you're really angry? Because they need us to be that example for them. And so that's why these are your actions that you take. The other one we have that's on the right side is Proverbs 18:21. And in Proverbs 18:21, it says, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. And that's just important because our words really do. They speak life and death. When I was praying about this and saying, okay, God, how do I show my kids this? How do I see this as an example? Give me a word picture. Give me something so I can understand, so I can see. And as I was praying about that, and praying for my children. I had a sweet little kiddo that really just broke my heart, that just wanted to be loved, just wanted a family, but was living in the foster family and going from house to house to house. And I was praying to God and I said, God, show me this picture. Show me how our words really matter. And you know what? He showed me this beautiful garden of flowers, and they were all daisies. And I know he picked daisies because that's my favorite flower. So he showed me the flower, and he was showing me how he needs food. It needs water, which is showing this beautiful rain, but yet there was this sun. And he told me, he said, you know what? Every flower needs food, water, and sun. And they get the food, water, and sun through parenting and through me. But if we take and we spray chemical, and he showed how if we spray chemical, which is our words, and it was just all these yucky words were just being thrown onto these flowers, they just got old and withered and just looked dead. But yet, when it had some raindrops, that raindrops of hope from our words, the impact of our words, and it showed these positive words just coming up in the ground, how it was just like this fresh food that they were receiving, and the sun, that, you know what, those would blossom. But one negative word could just kill a flower. Our kids are those flowers. You know, you probably know that. You know, right now we're mature in God. We have grown up in God and we know that, but our kids don't. Those words impact them differently depending on what stage they're in. Saying something to a 2-year-old is going to be different than saying something to a third grader, depending on their maturity or the conversation you can have. So we have to change our words. You know, and it just made me think of how privileged we are that he has given us his children to raise, because they are his children, that he trusts us so much to do this, that he tells us, speak life into them, that our words really matter. So when we get frustrated, when we have to deal with tough situations, I encourage you to give it to God, to take a moment, give it to God. God, I'm laying it down, putting it down at your feet. Give me some peace, give me some words, give me some wisdom to handle this situation. So instead of yelling out of anger and frustration, let's speak out. Let's call them to who they are. You are a child of God. You are smart. You're gifted. You're gentle. You're kind. You're an encourager. You can do this. When you start using those words sink down deep in their heart. They start listening to your instruction because you know what? You're calling them to who they are. And so then God also speaks into them of, yep, that's who you are, my child. That's who you are, my son and daughter. You're smart. You're loving. I have a destiny for you. And they listen to the instructions because we are partnering with God and speaking life to them. You know, they might not always act like they hear you. There's many times that I speak words and my kids just walk and I say, did you hear what I said? And they keep walking. I say, did you hear me? And they turn around with that ornery grin. And you know that they hear you. They might not always act like it or acknowledge it, but they do. But as we're speaking those words and they're hearing us, they're also hearing from God. They're hearing from God, and God is showing them and leading them and building that foundation. So that way, each child will start trusting God because they're going to trust you and they're going to know to come to you in those tough times. Because each of our children are unique. They need different words. They are not cookie cutters because God didn't want to make, you know what, here's the same repetition. Let's just do it over and over and over. No, he made them unique. So the words that they need, the things that they need, words of affirmation or whatever, they're going to be different for each child, and each child is going to need it in a different way. And they're not going to be perfect, but you know what? They were created for a purpose and a destiny with God. So let me repeat that again. They are unique, and they were all, each one of them, have a purpose and a destiny with God, and we have to speak that to them. That destiny, we speak life to let them fulfill that destiny. Sometimes as mom and dads, you know what, we're going to lose it. We need resuscitation. So right now, today, this is a resuscitation for moms and dads. It's oh wait, let me take a break. Let me pause. Let me breathe. And let me restart. That's the awesome part, is God allows us to restart every single day. It's a new day. Let go of the past. Don't bring the past. Don't bring what you did. You're allowed to change and start fresh. So we are doing a resuscitation today, mom and dads. Instead of yelling, we're going to start breathing. We're going to speak life. We're going to call them to who they are. They're loving, they're kind. We are going to touch their lives and impact them in their unique way by speaking life into them. Because as you start doing that, you will see relationships mend and both of you will become closer. We're going to shape their hearts to know who they are. Because let me tell you, as they start getting into high school, into college, and those first years as adults, things are hard. They can get down in the dump. You question life, you question the world, and as things get tough, they are going to go back to that building block and remember who they are by the words their parents spoke to them. And you know what? They are going to start speaking words of life to others. And it's going to change our society of how we see each other, how we speak life, how we encourage each other. They're going to have that creative signature of this is who I am. It's the foundation of me. It's going to sculpt them into understanding who God sees them and who they are. It's their purpose. You're speaking purpose and destiny into them. So as you do that, you are going to impact their world. You're going to rain hope into them and into others. And so today, I want to encourage you to speak life. And I want to encourage you by putting out a challenge. And I want you all to take on this challenge where for the entire month, all 28 days of February, I want you guys to do what we do in our house. We've been doing it since the boys were 2, where you cut out little hearts. And February is love. It's all about love. We cut out these little hearts and we speak life. We encourage them. We write a note and put it on their door every single day that tells them how proud we are, or a message of encouragement, or thanking them, or just speaking life about them, or just a prayer over them. And I want to challenge you guys to do it. If you don't have kids, do it for a friend. Do it for your parents. But speak life, and do it for the entire month. And then I want you to come on and tell me, what is that impact that it had on your child? How did it impact your relationship with your child? It's so important to speak life, but share it, take pictures, and I will too. I'm going to take pictures as I do it because my children, these are from years ago. They have them all over their room. They keep them. When they have a rough day, I find that Sam, he sticks it in his pocket. And as I'm doing his laundry and I empty out their pockets with all the mud and the gravel and the nails, I find these little notes. He didn't share with me that he was having a rough day or that he was nervous or upset. But you know what? He knew who he was and he needed this reminder. So let's speak life into each other. The other thing I want you to do this week is I want you guys to Google Speak Life by Toby Mac. And I want you to play it because what we put into our mind goes into our hearts and is what we remember. And that song, the Speak Life, I play it all the time. When we're having a rough day and those words just want to spew out and I'm frustrated, I play that and I remind myself, nope, we're going to speak life. We're not going to allow Satan to come in here and affect our kids or affect my relationship. I'm going to speak life. I'm going to take a pause and I'm going to have a resuscitation as a mom and dad. So, 2 things. Make those hearts and start putting them on and listen to that song. But let's continue this conversation. I want to hear how you can speak life or challenges that you're going through and how we can come alongside you and pray and help you to be able to handle that situation and bring life and purpose and destiny into those situations. So I'm going to put the webinar up again. Log on and register for it. You'll get another link and come and join us as we are raising kingdom kids together. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you on the back.